Thank you very much for joining us at this inaugural African MRO Conference. Inaugural in the fact that it's the first one of its kind that we are staging as a collective, AFRA, in collaboration with the 4 founding MROs. A pleasure for us to have in Addis a big gathering, over 400 delegates. And in terms of airlines, we saw 41 African airlines attend this event. So for our first edition, we are really impressed. It's really an important event to have because, you know, the MRO space for a couple of years now, we didn't have an African conference that was addressing the specific issues around the MRO. And then bringing this conference, we really found that those conversations really needed a place, and this is the place for it. And in terms of the program, we were really impressed where we had pre-event committee meetings with directors technical, directors procurement and maintenance, and out of which we were focusing on how can we address the MRO ecosystem challenges and how can we create together collectively a sustainable MRO ecosystem in Africa. Some of the actions we came out from there were really achievable at the level of AFRA, and some of the actions we found that it's just low-lying fruits with our member airlines. I give you some examples on the aspect of cost and efficiencies, whereby some of the recommendations that came were, could we, as AFRA, under the umbrella of AFRA initiatives, include a spare part pooling program? Could we also include a joint purchase program for aircraft consumables such as the hydraulic oil, tires and brakes? These are low-lying fruits because we just come together as African airlines collectively, and through that collective bargaining we find that we can have those cost efficiencies. And could we have a forum as AFRA whereby not just the airlines directors sitting together, but we can have closed sessions with these OEMs, because there's some certain issues whereby airlines do not really have that conversation, that dialogue with the OEMs. And if you can have those forums, they could even be part of the pre-event activities. It can create a very collaborative forum, OEMs and airlines together. We discuss our airline issues, and on the flip side, even the OEMs, certainly, they do have issues they want to discuss with the airlines. So we can have those kind of close forums. And those ideas just came by the conversations we had at the committee meetings yesterday. And looking at today's program, where we had the opening speeches from Ethiopian Airlines Group CEO, Mr. Mesfin Tasiu. We also had the chairman of AFRA, Captain George Kamal, who's the acting CEO of Kenya Airways, and AFRA Secretary General, of course. The opening by the State Minister from the Ministry of Transport and Logistics of Ethiopia. And the key call to action is indeed there are musts that we should achieve under the ecosystem. Musts such as collaboration to create that ecosystem in Africa that is really well coordinated, because there's a lot of fragmentation. Even when it comes to policies, a lot of fragmentation. When it comes to airlines and the MROs, we're really not working together as much as we should. So that was some of the musts. And even from the state level, from the guest of honor, he really acknowledged the fact that as African states, we need to harmonize the regulatory aspects on MROs. And that was very encouraging. And that was what set the scene for the day's discussions. We had our first panel, which was discussing the supply chain challenges being faced in Africa and an overview of the MRO ecosystem. And the second session, the leadership dialogues, where we had the leading MROs, CEOs, and we also had Aero Contractors MRO Managing Director, because you don't want to look only at the big MROs. Even the smaller ones, we have an opportunity to work together. And key actions from there, we really realized that collaboration is key. And the appetite for collaboration that came from those conversations was really impressive. So, ball on our court in terms of taking that action forward, because the call to collaborate is there and the willingness is there. So how can we really turn that into tangible outcomes to make that ecosystem in Africa? AFRA's next step, not just AFRA, it is AFRA and airlines and governments and civil aviation authorities collaboratively working together, because some of these challenges are not at the unique level of being addressed by AFRA only. Some of them are not uniquely going to be addressed by airlines. Some of them I mentioned earlier on the regulatory fragmentation. So we need that state coordination. There's also need to have, even if states, there's the aspect of sovereignty, but we need to see how we can align that policy across different states. There is the component of including the OEMs and the MROs. So it is an ecosystem, that kind of collaboration, and the role of AFRA is when we do this event annually, it will not just be an AFRA event, it shall be AFRA plus the founding MROs. We want to have that roadmap whereby at the next edition of this event we'll be looking at what has happened in the last year. These were the recommendations, and this is what was taken forward. And to achieve those recommendations from the level of AFRA, it was decided and agreed yesterday. From that engagement we had with the directors of our member airlines, could we have a quarterly engagement to track the progress? So we create the action plan, and then that quarterly engagement to track the progress. So that is how we are going to achieve that roadmap of outcomes, because this event is not just to have another talk show for MRO and then come back, meet next year, no talk show. The beauty about AFRA, and I keep underlining it severally, is that AFRA as an association, we have a mandate to put in place for our member airlines various forums and to achieve those objectives. And as we have the mandate of creating a sustainable ecosystem for African airlines through our action plans, because we are the leading trade association for airlines. We just don't organize events for the purpose of organizing events. We take those outcomes, put them on our annual action plan, overall also on the annual, on the 5-year strategic plan, and we have a follow-through to achieve those actions. And you've seen from our engagements the last couple of years, you could see some of those tangibles coming out, for example, from the Free Route Airspace initiative that AFRA really pushed forward to come to fruition. One of the unique things of this conference that is different from past editions, we had masterclasses. And you know, a masterclass is a semi-workshop within a conference. Two very important subjects that were addressed in the masterclasses. The first one by Lufthansa Consulting was on aircraft engine technical analysis and how that can be transformed into revenues. And the second masterclass by Standard Aero was on predictive maintenance and how we can transform that to enhance aircraft engine availability and also optimize on the costs. And another unique addition to this event that is making it really world-class is the B2B marketplace meeting sessions. So these are pre-arranged B2B meetings whereby airlines are able to have dedicated sessions with suppliers, with OEMs, with MRO companies to see how we can really get beyond the conversations. How can we have now business? And to show how important this is, the afternoons of the 2 days is uniquely dedicated for the B2Bs. And then day 2, we shall do a facilities visit of Ethiopian Airlines MRO, just to showcase what is on the ground to the participants that are present. And this is something that will be happening for each and every of the MRO conference, because it is going to be hosted by the 4 founding MROs. So we have Kenya Airways MRO, South African Airways Technical, Egypt Air Maintenance and Engineering, and Ethiopian MRO.